But we're close to the point where you're not going to be able to tell the difference. So,
Let me click on
a
it.
lot of people, I talked about this last week a little bit. So, Barry Weiss, who used to be an editor and reporter at the New York Times several years ago, ended up resigning just because she got, because she's trying to, even though she's a left leaning journalist, she's trying to be accurate. And so she went and she started her own media company, and it did really well and it took off. And a couple weeks ago, CBS News announced that they were buying her media company for $150 million. And on top of that, they were appointing her as editor in chief, basically, for CBS News. And so on the left is kind of like the old, because basically the people in the media, they don't do any fact checking. They just pump narratives because if some other left leaning reporter reported it, they assume it's legit and they just put it out there. And it's like water cooler journalism. Nobody verifies any sources. They just regurgitate what they heard at the water cooler, or they read whatever's on their teleprompter. And so you'll see a dramatic difference between the story on the left and the story on the right. So on the left, this I believe is the old version. Hospitals and health clinics in Gaza City are on the brink of collapse. Nearly 2 weeks into the offensive, two clinics have been destroyed by airstrikes. What you got to keep in mind is Hamas had tunnels they built underneath the hospitals on purpose, and we're using the hospitals as bases. So that's why Israel bombed them. But of course, again, we had the video footage of the reporter that opened the Gaza bureau 20 years ago, talking about anything that comes out of Gaza is, unless you report what Hamas wants, they kill you or they torture you. And the AP has known this for years, and they, because they're left leaning and they're Marxists, they look the other way and they don't care. And so everything that's reporting that comes out of Gaza is approved by Hamas, or you're getting it directly from a member of the media who also is a Hamas member. So you're not getting the truth. You're getting and Al Qaeda did the same thing to us in Iraq. The Taliban did the same thing to us. And, they get a bunch of civilians killed and they blame it on the Americans or, whoever we're fighting or the security forces that we've trained, or Blackwater, whatever it happens to be. And then the media just carries it because, again, they don't really do any verification. And their stringers, as they're called, are basically terrorists. They had Al Qaeda operatives giving us, or the West, the news. So
Oh, sorry.
go back. Hospitals and health clinics in Gaza City are on the brink of collapse. Nearly 2 weeks into the offensive, two clinics have been destroyed by airstrikes, two hospitals shut down after being damaged, and others are barely functioning with medicine equipment, food, and fuel in short supply, according to the Gaza Health Ministry, which again is Hamas. And so this is the new headline: Israel's retaliatory war in Gaza against Hamas, which the U.S. and Israel consider a terrorist organization, has killed more than 67,000 people. According to the Hamas-run Gaza Ministry of Health, which does not distinguish between civilian and combat casualties, again, the mainstream media left that part off. So everybody that gets killed, because the other thing is Hamas members, they don't dress up in military uniforms. They dress up as civilians. And so when they get killed, they go, oh, look, a civilian's dead. They just remove the rifle out of the way. Or his grenades or whatever kind of arms he would have had. And they say, look, he killed an innocent person. And usually it's the Hamas member that's killed along with their family, which includes women and children. But they share the same ideology. So, but they get reported as civilians because, again, has been very successful at propagandizing the West, and everybody on the left just automatically assumes it's a genocide, and they believe whatever the TV says because, again, CBS News up until now doesn't do any verification. So obviously, I don't agree with everything Barry Weiss does or says. She's a lefty, but she's a huge, huge improvement over what we had before, which is just blatant misinformation and disinformation and just fucking propaganda. So congratulations to her on the $150 million payday. Hopefully she cleans up CBS a little bit at least. And so we get a little bit more of the truth out of CBS instead of just leftist propaganda or Chinese propaganda or Islamist propaganda. Let's see. Oh, this is interesting. So the Palisades fires, remember everybody on TV said it's climate change. And in reality, it was fucking arson. So this is the photo of the guy. His name is 29-year-old Jonathan Rinderknecht.
It's interesting.
So he actually started the fire that burned down all those houses. So it was arson. So maybe you can put that up. Looks like some fucking leftist.
Yeah,
But everybody in the media is like, "Oh, let's climate change cause the Palisade fires." No, some fucking unwashed douchebag who believed the propaganda on TV went and burned the Palisades down.
Among the evidence that was collected from his digital devices was an image he generated on ChatGPT depicting a burning city.
Oh, nice. So he got people killed, people lost everything, and it was just some fucking dirty ass leftist. But yet the media and did the media retract and go, "Oh, we were wrong. It wasn't actually climate change. It was arson." Of course not. They're not going to correct that record. But the people that saw the TV, they're convinced it was climate change. Because again, you're not going to probably see that dude on TV. They're just going to completely ignore the story and not tell you the truth.
I mean, the Palisades fire wouldn't have happened if we just got taxed more.
And they can't rebuild. No, they're not allowing any permits to get approved. Same thing with Malibu. Nothing's happening.
Didn't they try to make something? I saw one thing they were trying to just make it all low income housing or something like that, or so, which is all scam because it's just literally the government. They give contracts to their buddies.
They don't want people rebuilding their homes. They want them to sell their land for pennies on the dollar so they can put low income housing.
Yeah. And then they get the contracts to their friends who own the low income housing. It's just a fucking it's just a scam.
Yeah.
Oh, it's insane.